Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is out now in theaters. This is going to be one of two spoiler reviews coming from me. This is a solo spoiler review where it's just me, and I break down the movie and more thoughts that I can get into as to what I liked or didn't like about the movie. They're going to be doing a spoiler discussion with my friend Ryan O'Toole and my cousin Pat, who's been on the channel a lot. Because I saw the movie with Ryan, and then Pat wants to come on and talk Doctor Strange, because he's a huge Doctor Strange fan. So it's going to be similar to what I did with No Time to Die. 3 reviews, 2 separate spoiler reviews. Let's get to it. I'm going to break this one up into topics. May not go in order of sequential events of the movie, but I do feel like this is one where I do have to break it up into topics to make it easier for viewers of mine to resume if they have to somehow pause the video or exit out of the video at some point. So I figured that would probably be easier than just doing what I did with Secrets of Dumbledore. So let's get into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
All right, Poindexter, sit down, shut up, and listen.
And your burning questions, because I know everybody's talking about the multiverse and the cameos. So, for the first topic of discussion, the multiverse. Okay, this is actually going to be a topic that's probably going to encapsulate this whole video. It's probably going to run throughout this entire thing, but more of what expectations were and how they're presented in the movie for the multiverse, because I feel like myself and many others thought that this was going to be a sprawling multiversal epic. I don't want to say similar to Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I think, like, you know, just traveling through a bunch of different universes, like almost like universe hopping, and it's really not that. It really takes place in a couple of different locations. It's Earth 616, which is our universe, and then most of it takes place in Earth 838. And then there is a section of the movie that takes place in the world between worlds. I think that's how they describe it, where Doctor Strange and America Chavez have to go and get the Book of Vishanti. So if you're expecting universe hopping, you're not going to really get it. It's not as multiversal as you think it is. It is still a wild movie, because there was a lot of horror in this movie, and I'll talk more about that as we go on. That's what makes it mad. You know, that's the madness of the multiverse. Like, we're still in the realm of the multiverse, even if we're not universe hopping to all the different multiverses. But the madness is the crazy shit that the villain, who I will talk about soon, does in the multiverse. Alright, next topic of conversation is the cameos, because I feel like the multiverse, everybody's expecting this to be a big part of the movie. I feel like everybody is expecting everyone from everything to show up. And let me tell you, if that's what you're expecting, you're going to be disappointed, because as I said in my spoiler-free review, it's about 6 to 7 cameos. And, I mean, the trailer really gave away one TV spot gave away another. So I'll just lay it out here. So essentially, there is a point in the movie where we get to Earth 838, and that universe is Mordo introduces our universe's Doctor Strange to the Illuminati. And the Illuminati consists of King Black Bolt from Inhumans. I honestly, okay, this got spoiled for me. I saw, like, the leaked image of Black Bolt, somebody else I'm about to talk about, and somebody else I'm about to talk about. And it was so blurry, where it looked like Henry Cavill as Captain Britain. I was like, holy shit, Henry Cavill's in the movie? I was like, I wish I did not get spoiled on that. But it is not Henry Cavill. It's the guy, I think his name's Anson Mount, who played Black Bolt in the short-lived Inhuman show. So he's part of the Illuminati. Mordo's part of the Illuminati. Then we get the live-action version of Captain Carter from What If, played by Haley Atwell. That was an interesting twist. Really like that, because I haven't watched What If yet, but I heard that episode about Captain Carter and What If is really good, and so now we finally get the live-action version of Captain Carter, and Haley Atwell voiced Peggy Carter in the What If episode. So, and I mean, obviously, if you're going to do the Captain Carter thing in live action, you have to have Haley Atwell play her, because she's been playing Peggy Carter throughout this entire MCU. And you finally give Haley Atwell something to do, because let's just face it, she's kind of been, rightfully so, critical about the MCU and how they handled the whole Sharon Carter thing. Completely agree with her. Luckily, she gets something to do briefly in this movie, and then we are also introduced to Captain Marvel, who we saw in the trailer, who I seriously thought was going to be Teyonah Parris as Monica Rambeau. So I was like, oh yeah, Teyonah Parris is going to be reprising her role as Monica Rambeau from WandaVision. That is not the case. I totally did not expect Lashana Lynch to show up as Maria Rambeau and have Maria Rambeau be Earth 838's Captain Marvel. You know, I feel bad though, because when I saw this at my press screening the other day, like everybody clapped and cheered for Captain Carter, for Mordo, for Patrick Stewart when he comes in as Charles Xavier, because yeah, he's part of the Illuminati too. It was a pleasure to see Patrick Stewart back as Charles Xavier. I was like, yeah, okay, so now the entire X-Men series is part of a multiverse. It's like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. It's all a multiverse. The Andrew Garfield movies, it's all a multiverse. But, you know, like, I feel bad because Patrick Stewart got a great round of applause. Captain Carter got a great round of applause. Mordo got a great round of applause. Black Bolt, somehow, people know who Black Bolt was. Like, I never knew who Black Bolt was until I looked it up after I saw the movie. I was like, okay, who the hell is Black Bolt? Whoever the fuck that is, I don't know. Oh, he was in that Short-Lived Inhuman show. Okay. He somehow got a warm reception from my audience in that press screening as well. And then the big one, this has been speculated forever. The big one was Reed Richards. Going in, I think everybody expected Reed Richards to show up, but nobody was really sure who was going to play Reed Richards. It was just like, okay, I think they just want to completely erase Fan Forstick from the face of the map. So I said to myself, I highly doubt it's going to be Miles Teller. There's two possibilities. You're either going to see Reed Richards as like a new Reed Richards, like somebody like John Krasinski as Reed Richards, who has been rumored to be Reed Richards for a long time, or if it's not John Krasinski, like they're going to show somebody else who has previously played Reed Richards, like Jan Gruffid. That's the one I was expecting, but no, it is full-blown John Krasinski, and everybody went crazy, even in the public ticketed, where you have to pay for the movie screening. Everybody went crazy, but I felt so bad for Lashana Lynch because I don't think anybody knew who she was. Like, it was just like Captain Marvel, and it shows Lashana Lynch, and everybody was just like, is dead silent. I was like, nobody knows who Lashana Lynch is. I guess maybe it's because she looks a little bit different than she did in Captain Marvel, or the fact that a lot of people just don't like Captain Marvel for stupid reasons. I don't know why. Or they were just like, oh, that's the chick from Bond that took over as James Bond, which is completely false. Her being a 007 is different than her being James Bond. That's all I'm going to say on that. Internet warranted some weird-ass articles on that. I feel like that was the mindset. Like, everybody was just like, oh, yeah, fuck, okay, Captain Marvel, whatever. Like, we don't care. We hate Captain Marvel. I literally said out loud, I was like, oh shit, it's Lashana Lynch. Nobody else said a peep in both screenings. Like, everybody went nuts for John Krasinski. But you'd think that would be it. You would think that would just be that one scene where it's like all of them on like the Illuminati Council. That's what I'm gonna call it. But no, they get an action scene because they fight the main villain of the movie, Wanda Maximoff. Whoa! Yeah, you knew after WandaVision, like if WandaVision was leading into Multiverse of Madness, you knew there was speculation that Wanda was gonna be the main villain. I'll get back into this in a minute, but essentially, my point here being is that they fight Wanda, and I love that shot of Earth 838 Wanda that's possessed by the Wanda from Earth 616. I know it's getting a little confusing because Earth 616 Wanda is using the Darkhold to control Earth 838's Wanda, but I love that scene where she's just walking and she's like, it looks like she's got blood on her. I think she's got blood on her hands, but like it looks like she has blood all over her. It's actually oil, I believe, from her destroying like all the Ultron robots. That's what it looks like. So she's got like oil on her, but I swear to God, I think that's blood on her hands, like legit blood. Love that where she like destroys the helmet and she's walking towards the camera. I'm like, that is a badass shot. So not only do they all show up on the Illuminati Council, but everybody other than Charles Xavier and Mordo fights Wanda, and they get killed in brutal ways, man. I was like, damn, like, I did not expect them to get an action scene. I thought it was just going to be, okay, they're going to be on, like, the Illuminati Council, and then they're just going to go away. And these are going to be, like, oh, like, the multiverse versions of these. Like, when John Krasinski showed up as Reed Richards, I was thinking to myself, we're actually not going to get Reed Richards. Like, I feel like I feel like the casting of John Krasinski too was just pleasing the fans. Like it was like a pipe dream for the fans. So they're like, okay, you want John Krasinski as Reed Richards? Stop bothering us. Okay, here you go. He's Reed Richards. Jesus Christ, leave us alone. But like as the scene was playing out, I was like, I really don't know if he's gonna continue as Reed Richards because this is like the multiverse. That's they have like Fantastic Four take place on like a different Earth or something, you know? But at the same time, all these people fucking die. Yeah, they get killed in brutal ways by Wanda. Like, Captain Carter gets sliced in half by her shield. I remember seeing that. I was like, oh shit. Black Bolt gets his mouth sewn shut and his head crushed in. That was the most brutal one, man. I was just like, yeah, Wanda's off her rocker now. Okay, she's telling these people it's her game. Maria Rambeau, Captain Marvel, gets crushed to death. Reed Richards, how does he die? I saw the movie again. How does he die? I think he gets like ripped into shreds or something by a spell Wanda does. So I was just like, okay, so I think they're all dead and we're not getting them in future movies. So are we gonna have to recast Reed Richards again? I mean, I have no idea what's gonna happen. That's my personal take on it. I mean, I feel like John Krasinski could still play Reed Richards on Earth 616, but I don't know. I feel like he's specifically the Reed Richards on Earth 838. I mean, obviously we know Lashana Lynch isn't Captain Marvel. Brie Larson is still Captain Marvel. I mean, I would have loved to have seen these guys go to Earth 616 and, you know, inhibit our world. Like, if Captain Carter showed up in our world, she teamed up with Falcon, who's the new Captain America, and Bucky. Man, that would be like a trio of like just insanity awesomeness right there. But nope, they're all dead because of Wanda. The one character that does appear in this section of the movie, it's interspersed throughout this entire Illuminati thing and this whole Wanda using the Darkhold to dreamwalk into her Earth 838's body. I am stumbling over words trying to say Earth because I've said it so many times now, but like, interspersed between that is somebody who I didn't think was going to have a massive role in this movie, and it turns out she did, and that was Rachel McAdams. Rachel McAdams, as Christine Palmer, plays a gargantuan role in this movie, and I don't want to say she's in the movie a ton, but she is a major supporting character. I was not expecting that. When they said Rachel McAdams was coming back, I just thought to myself, I was like, oh yeah, I mean, that's probably just going to be like a 5-minute, like, maybe like 1 or 2 scene thing. No, she comes back as the Christine Palmer that we know her from the first one. Like, she's getting married. But then she also comes back as Christine Palmer on Earth 838 as like an Illuminati scientist. I was like, that was totally not expected. And I actually really like that. Alright, so now let's talk about the villain of the movie, because I think everybody had their theories as to who the villain was, and I think 90% of us said it's Wanda, and it is Wanda. The motivation makes sense because of the influence of the Darkhold. She just wants to see her children again, her fake-ass children that were in Westview. I mean, she destroyed the whole fucking town. Doctor Strange is even telling her, your kids are not real, and she's like, no, I have to see my kids again. And she's the reason why we're on this huge-ass adventure. Because she wants to capture America Chavez and harness that power so that she can get into the multiverse to reunite with Tommy and Billy. And I'm just like, you know what? This is a little bit messy. This is the part of the movie, like the whole beginning, like the first 45 to hour or so of the movie was a little choppy in that regard. Everything with Wanda in that chunk of the runtime was great. Everything with Doctor Strange and America Chavez was a little clunky, but essentially, like, I'm completely on board with this. I mean, Elizabeth Olsen just kills it as Wanda, and the motivation for Wanda, look, I think that this is the best written version of Wanda we have gotten, and I'm not 100% sure if Wanda's coming back, and I'll talk about that in a minute after I get through all this, because the motivation makes sense. I mean, seriously, like, this is a woman that was grieving. Her entire life has crumbled. She has lost everything. She lost her brother. She lost the person she loved in Vision. She lost the false universe that she created where she had a couple of kids and was married to Vision. That's all gone. Now the Darkhold has an influence on her. Now, if she captures America Chavez and harnesses that power to get into the multiverse, and she uses the Darkhold to dreamwalk into her body in another universe, she can reunite with her kids, and that's her entire goal. Yeah, woman, you know what? I kind of feel for you. After all the shit that we as audience members have witnessed with Wanda, yeah, I completely get it. I'm completely on your side. So when she's out there trying to destroy Kamertage at the beginning, I'm like, yeah, woman, like, go for it. But at the same time, it was an interesting dynamic because she started off as the villain, then she became good, and then WandaVision slowly showed her starting to become influenced by the Darkhold and how she had to fight Agatha Harkness, and now this whole thing has come crashing down on her, and her entire life is in shambles. I think it was actually great character motivation. I think that the journey that Wanda goes on in this movie, I think is going to be criticized a little bit. And it's not because she's the villain. I think it's because she's the villain and her mindset just doesn't change throughout the entire movie. Her goal is to just reunite with her kids and use the Darkhold to do that. That is her entire mindset. Like, there is no changing her mind. There is no convincing her whatsoever. No matter what Doctor Strange says, no matter what America Chavez says, no matter what anybody else says. That's what she wants. But then at the end of the movie, she realizes she has to destroy all of the Darkholds and all of the universes. So essentially, she sacrifices herself. And there's like a moment where I feel like right before she does that, where she realizes that she has lost everything, but she also realizes that nothing about Westview or Tommy or Billy was real. And I think a lot of people are going to overlook that specifically. How Wanda's journey ends in this movie is very powerful, where she's literally dreamwalking as another version of her in another universe, and her kids are afraid of her. I think it really took that moment for her to realize that, okay, maybe this isn't worth it. And I actually really love that. And again, I think that's just going to be a completely overlooked moment. Whether or not Wanda dies, I think is left ambiguous, because that like throne that she's on comes crashing down on her. So it makes it look like she died, but I don't know. We just see, I think we just see the rocks come down and then there's like a cloud of dust. I feel like it's not really confirmed if she's dead or alive. I'm assuming she's dead. If she shows up alive in the future though, I wouldn't be surprised. And if that is it for Elizabeth Olsen in the MCU, if Wanda Maximoff is actually dead because of that, great performance from Elizabeth Olsen in this movie. One of the greatest character arcs in the MCU. I still think in terms of the female characters, Nebula still has the better character arc, but in this movie, seeing where Wanda starts in the MCU and where she ends in the MCU, because this looks like it's the end, Wanda gives her a run for her money. Let's talk about some other elements of the movie, like the different Doctor Stranges. Like, this movie starts off with him and America Chavez trying to obtain the Book of Vishanti in the world between worlds, but it's not the Doctor Strange that we know. It's Defender Strange, which I really love. And then when it comes to the Darkhold, we actually see our Doctor Strange interact with Earth 838's Doctor Strange, who is influenced by the Darkhold. And then in order to defeat Wanda, he has to use the dead body of Defender Strange in Dreamwalk. Our Doctor Strange uses the Darkhold to Dreamwalk as that zombie Doctor Strange, Defender Strange. That's gonna creep the shit out of people, but I love that entire sequence. Like, that was straight out of a horror movie. That was straight Sam Raimi. Loved it, loved it, loved it. The entire second half is really good. Once Doctor Strange and America Chavez get captured on Earth 838, like, the entire movie just takes off. Like, the Illuminati shit is where the movie completely starts to soar and everything starts to click into place. So let's talk about the Dreamwalk and stuff, because it's very hinted at the beginning. Like, you know, dreams are gonna have something to do with this, or something related to dreams. Like, I mean, dream walking's not really related to dreams, but I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I really thought, like, there's 2 dream sequences in this movie. And when they kept saying, like, dream sequences and, like, this whole thing about dream walking, I was like, oh yeah, Freddy Krueger's showing up. But realistically, no, obviously. I like the idea of dream walking. I want to see that more in the MCU. And then Doctor Strange gets a third eye because he dreamwalked using the Darkhold. So that's an interesting thing there. When I saw it on Wednesday, I actually thought that that was the Earth 838 Doctor Strange coming into our universe. was like, it couldn't be because our Doctor Strange interacted with Earth 838's Christine Palmer and got a little bit of closure even with her, even though that wasn't his Christine Palmer. So I was like, he wouldn't be saying that if that was the Darkhold Doctor Strange. It freaked me out. That was my immediate thought when I saw the third eye pop up. I was like, where'd the third eye come from? My interpretation of that is that our Doctor Strange, like our universe's Doctor Strange, now has the third eye because he used the Darkhold. I could be completely wrong, but I definitely know it's not Earth 838 Doctor Strange. I think it's because of the influence of the Darkhold and how he dreamwalked into a different body. And I think that was highly implied that that was what was going to happen. The third eye thing was just freaked me out, I guess. Going back to the Illuminati for a minute, let's talk about the Illuminati, because I want to talk about something that they mentioned. They mentioned that because, from my understanding, because Doctor Strange is now in a different universe, like, he has caused an incursion. So what I actually really like about that Illuminati scene too is that it shows you that these universes are fighting the same things that we have already seen. Like, the same events have happened, but in different ways. Like, Thanos died in other universes in the multiverse, but he died in a different way. Never ever again in an MCU movie did I ever think I would see Titan. And I was like, holy shit, Sam Raimi brought back Titan. And I was paying so much close attention. I was like, all right, Titan. Okay, there's that detail. There's yep, he got the whole thing right. Like, that is completely where everything was on Titan. The geography of Titan is intact. Good job, Sam Raimi. And I don't think he watched Infinity War. He just knew about. We get a brief cameo of a dead Thanos. So I was like, I never thought I'd see Thanos in any way, shape, or form again. I mean, looks like in this he got stabbed a million times, but that Doctor Strange killed Thanos. Like, that universe's Doctor Strange killed Thanos, but now there's like an incursion and the Illuminati killed that Doctor Strange. So now, because there's an incursion, we can get into the mid-credit scene. Mid-credit scene. So Doctor Strange is greeted by a woman who invites Strange into the dark dimension because of the incursion. And she shows up and everybody was just like, holy shit, it's Charlize Theron. And I'm like, okay, it's Charlize Theron, but who's she playing? This, I believe, is Clea Strange. I don't know, because if that is the case, then yeah, you would cast a high-profile actress like Charlize Theron. If it's somebody other than her, I feel like you wouldn't cast Charlize Theron. Like, you wouldn't waste Charlize Theron in a role like that. And the post-credit scene. Okay, the post-credit scene is literally just like the biggest troll job since Deadpool told us all to leave at the post-credit scene of Deadpool, or the Spider-Man Homecoming post-credit scene with Captain America. It is literally the biggest troll job because it's a Sam Raimi movie. You know Bruce Campbell's gonna have a cameo, which he did earlier in the movie, but this is just him just popping up being like, that's it, folks! And it's like, oh, so like we just kind of wasted our time here sitting through the credits for this post-credit scene. Okay, whatever. We'll leave. You want us to leave, we'll leave. I think that's all I have to say about Multiverse of Madness. I really have more to say in that spoiler discussion than I do with some of my fellow colleagues in the coming days, but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things I liked about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I think I liked it a little bit more on rewatch. The opening scene's great, but I just think pacing-wise and story-wise, like, it just doesn't seem like it holds its own. The Wanda stuff, yeah, but like trying to figure out how to put America Chavez into the story and where we're going there, it just felt like the first half took a little bit too long to get that going. And I just have one final note on Wanda that I meant to mention before, but you could look at this movie and say, this is a Scarlet Witch movie. It's as much of her movie as it is Doctor Strange's movie. Just like Infinity War is as much of Thanos' movie as it is an Avengers movie. I've seen people say that this is a flat-out Scarlet Witch movie and Doctor Strange plays more of a supporting role in this movie and he's the title character. I really didn't see it that way. I mean, yeah, there are chunks of the movie where Doctor Strange is gone. But in that first half, I mean, there's a pretty good chunk of the movie where Scarlet Witch is gone. I mean, the entire first 20 minutes or so, she's not even in the movie. Thinking about it now, there are scenes where it does feel like Doctor Strange is absent for an extended period of time, but we're spending more time with Wanda, and anything with Wanda, I am on board with. I think it's split right down the middle. I think it's 50-50. That's really all I needed. I needed the focus to be on Doctor Strange and Wanda and America Chavez, as we find out in this movie. I wanted there to be a lot of multiverse jumping, but the way that this movie plays out, yeah, I don't need a giant universe hopping movie or a cameo fest. Like, I'm glad we did not get Tom Cruise as Tony Stark Iron Man from like another universe or a variant of that. You know, I think something as big as that would have taken away from a little bit of my enjoyment. I think the reason this movie works as well as it does, despite some issues in the first half, is the Doctor Strange Scarlet Witch dynamic and the America Chavez Doctor Strange Scarlet Witch dynamic. Focuses on the three of them. And that's what this movie had to do. It couldn't veer into different directions. It couldn't be a cameo fest. It couldn't be a multiverse hopping type of movie. The focus had to remain on them. And I feel like the script knew that. And while it was messy at times, it kept that focus. So, yeah, I mean, I think I liked Multiverse of Madness a little bit more on rewatch. Like, I picked up on a few more things on rewatch I didn't necessarily pick up on my first viewing, but for anybody saying it's also convoluted, it's really easy to follow. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Sorry. That's going to conclude my solo spoiler review of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. What was your favorite part of Multiverse of Madness? I'll tell you my favorite part. It was definitely watching all of those cameos, like all the people that made the cameos, like just watching the Illuminati fight Scarlet Witch. I think that was my favorite part, because I definitely was not expecting any of them to have an action scene. I was just expecting an Illuminati council and then be out of the movie. But nope, they had an action scene. What was your favorite part? Let me know in the comments section below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.